What's up, guys? Sub-Zeric here, back for another VOD review. And honestly, I don't know what to say about this. This might be the single greatest TFT tournament performance by a player of all time, and I don't think it's actually even close. This is JD Zielinski. We've watched a couple of his games so far, but I didn't have the totality of his performances because the games hadn't finished. But day one, 44 points, first place overall. His lowest score was a third, 3 firsts, 2 seconds. Day two, first place overall, 6 points ahead of second, by the way. First, third, second. Day three, dropped 50 points. Going into the final game, which was his only bot 4 of the tournament, he was guaranteed first. There was no one else who could possibly catch up with him. So I'm not going to count this final game because I'm pretty sure he just trolled it for fun because he was literally guaranteed in. His scores were first, second, first, second, and then we won't count this. If you tally up those AVPs, which Nora did here, which, you know, shout out to Nora, awesome member of the community, JD had a 1.61 average placement across 18 games. This is literally unheard of type of dominance in TFT. It's so funny that I put up my video a few days ago, actually, about how, you know, like, is it possible to play like perfect TFT? You know, is it possible to go top 4 every game? And this is tournament setting. These are strong players. These are people who are all playing because the winner, the top 4 of this tournament, auto-qualify to the second weekend of the next cup. And I mean, you got like $1,500 for this. It's not a small prize pool whatsoever. It's also a huge tournament. This was like a 400-person tournament. So to go from that sort of like open bracket with literally everyone to just dominating the entire thing, I mean, it really goes to show JD's his skill and just how much of a beast he is. One more thing before I get too far into the video, I do have a new sponsor. This is a really cool fantasy strategy game called Call of Dragons. And I'm running something pretty interesting with Call of Dragons. So basically, the sponsor wants us to get to certain milestones in the game. I'll have the link here in the description. If you get to these milestones, I'm going to enter you into a giveaway for free coaching. So the harder the milestones are to get, the more entries you get into free coaching. You can see a bunch of people have already. They just send me a little screenshot of these are their level 5 cities, and you'll get entered into free coaching. I'm going to draw this in 13 days. So if you've ever wanted to get coaching before, but you know, you don't have the resources, you don't want to spend money on coaching, literally you just have to download this game and play it a little bit. So it's a pretty fun game. So like, you know, I mean, you're basically getting free coaching to play a game, and then send a screenshot and I'll enter you into a coaching giveaway. The more people we get, like the more entries we get, the more sessions I'll give away. You know, if we had 1,000 people, that's never going to happen. But if we had 1,000 people who, you know, signed up for it, then, you know, I would give away, I don't know, a lot of sessions. So, you know, I'll adjust as we get more players. So yes, this is JD Zielinski. He's playing around right now just this Sniper plus Warden opener, not the strongest opener in the world, and he takes a Unified. His early augments here are actually pretty bad. There's nothing you're really crazy about. I do think this Venerable Piggy Bank augment is broken if you can start off with Exalted, but the problem is very often it's hard to start the game with Exalted. So yeah, we slam Crown Guard because that's basically our only slam. We do have a Jax 2 here, which is really, really nice, and we pick up an Alawi who's going to give us Ghostly onto this board, so we can be pretty happy with the board here, and we can look at just making a Last Whisper here, move the Crown Guard over to the Alawi. Yeah, pretty happy with this opener so far. But yeah, like item, like augment wise, we're not too happy with it, but the unit upgrades are really solid. Now JD played a few specific lines, I would say, to have this dominance in tournament. I think right now the meta, especially after the nerfs to things like Faded, after, you know, like the domination of Yone, but then the nerfing of Yone, you know, Bard was really broken early on in the set, and now Bard is like not unplayable, but, you know, not as strong. JD played pretty like linearly. He had a few openers that he wanted to play, and then he played those into a few small number of comps, and I mean, that was enough for him to easily dominate the tournament. So it just goes to say that he probably had a very, very strong meta read. He knew that these comps were broken, and using them, he destroyed everybody. So this game we're going to watch, this is like this Ghostly, Caitlyn, Snipers type opener. He also played a decent amount of Fortune. Also, JD going to do a little trick here where you pop your tome right before you go see Carousel. This way we can figure out what we're taking off Carousel and then see what we're taking off Tome. I would imagine we'd want to finish some kind of like, you'd love to take like the sword or something here, but the problem is he's going to take tier here. So maybe it's a I don't know. Is this really gonna be a Shojin slam, or maybe he's just gonna hold on to the sword plus the tier here? I'm not sure. I guess we'll see here, because yeah, I mean, I guess Shojin's a fine Caitlyn item, but I don't know that you would want to make it. Maybe we use it to streak. I guess we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, he played a lot of this opener, and he played a lot of Fortune. Let me know if you guys want to see a Fortune game from JD. Ooh, look at this. He's gonna slam the sword on Kate and the tier on Cog to look for maybe a Caitlyn item and a Kog'Maw item. That's interesting. And it's also gonna make our board hopefully strong enough to win this fight. This is a really close fight. Really smart of JD to slam the single components here, because that can actually swing fights. But yeah, let me know if you guys want to see him playing Fortune. I just thought I've done so many Fortune VOD reviews that like maybe let's do this, which is like a little bit different, because you guys have seen Fortune a million times. I mean, it's fun, and he's a beast, and he plays it really well, and he angles pretty aggressively for Fortune, which is cool to see. That like he really wants to get Fortune in if he can get it in. But, you know, at the end of the day, a Fortune game's a Fortune game. You've seen it a few times. But I'll probably, unless everyone's like, no, we hate Fortune, we don't want to see it, I'll probably do a Fortune VOD review for tomorrow from JD. Because, I mean, we got to watch more of this guy, right? He literally, this is the greatest. I mean, having, like, under a 2 AVP is, like, actually just unheard of. And, like I said, his only bot 4 across the entire tournament. He had... Besides, obviously, the final game, which he, like, kind of trolled because he literally didn't need to play for it, he had 1/4, I think, and then every game besides that was a 3rd or higher. I don't know what to say. I literally don't know what to say about this. But yeah, we have the strong Senna opener here. This is, I would say, one of the strongest openers that you can get in TFT right now, just because of the damage that Ghostly brings to your board, the damage that just that Senna does as a unit is insane. Also, this board just fits together so well. However, I think most people see this opener and they say, okay, I'm going to play Senna reroll, right? We have Senna, we have all this stuff. Like, why shouldn't I just play Senna reroll here? But as far as I know, I don't think JD played Senna reroll a single game in tournament. If he did, maybe he played it one game. I haven't looked through every single game, but he played Senna reroll very little this tournament. A lot of this tournament was JD playing this opener into fast 8, fast 9 type stuff. You see, we're going to roll down here at 3-2. I like this a lot. We have 3 really big pairs. In the Senna, actually 4 really, the Caitlyn's nice as well. I would love to hit a frontline 2-star here, but JD is going to play maybe a tad bit risky, but I mean, honestly, he knows this board, he knows how strong Senna 2 is. He's gonna say this board is strong enough, I don't actually need to roll here. Even though I have 3 pairs, he doesn't want to dip below 40 because that's gonna hurt his econ, it's gonna make it harder for him to push levels, go fast 8, go fast 9 type stuff. But this is a lot of what JD did. It's this Senna opener into fast 8, fast 9 type stuff, ideally playing around Kai'Sa, because the pivot is really, really easy. The Last Whisper plus Deathblade are fantastic items on Kai'Sa. We're gonna get a 3-star 1 cost. Oh, a random Jax is like kind of chill here. I mean, it's not amazing because we already have the Jax on our board. Yeah, like now we can actually cut the Jax and play double Alawi to get more ghostly value in, which is pretty funny. But I mean, yeah, this is chill. But yeah, like you'll see, like we see this extra Senna here. I doubt JD's even going to try to hold on to the extra Senna here, even though I think a lot of people would say for Sennas, I'm going to play around Senna reroll. JD is already saying Senna reroll doesn't cap out that high. It's going to be hard for Senna reroll late game to beat stuff like 3-star 3 costs, just because, you know, 3-star 2 costs should be generally weaker than 3-star 3 costs. So, you know, like the people who play Yone, the people who play, I mean, Bard, but I mean, let's be real about Bard. The people who play this new, like Zoe plus Diana plus Soraka comp, which is a really, really cool comp. The other shout I will give to self-promote my own stuff is that Becca, my mod, has been helping me on posting a lot of VODs to my VOD channel. I'll have my VOD channel in the description as well, so go check that out. She's been doing a ton of work getting really cool content on there. So if you guys want more of my content, want to see more of me playing, you know, they're just my highlights of my games, my best Twitch VODs. So go check it out. It's really, really cool, and she's been putting in a ton of work. Hopefully, we can get the channel monetized. It's like 1,000 subs to get it monetized, and once we get there, you know, I can start revenue sharing with her and actually making it worth it for her, because right now she's just doing it out of the goodness of her own heart, which like my God, like thank you so much. But in any case, let's continue on here. Huge win streak here. I mean, really, it's very, very straightforward to level at 3-5. When you play this board, I think your early games are gonna be very straightforward. Like, oftentimes people will ask me and they'll say, like, if there's a board you could get every single game, what would it be? And I would say it's this one. This is a pretty astute roll down here from, I don't know if astute is really the right word that I'm looking for here, but it's a nice roll down here from JD to say, actually, like, like I was talking about, he still has a lot of pairs. The big thing is the Alawi 2, but even this Shen 2, even this Atrox 2 are big upgrades to hit, and we really want to keep our streak. So I think literally just from watching this game already, one thing that I'm already really impressed by from JD is his willingness to roll down in spots where I think some people might greet it. Like rolling there, I think, is a really, really nice play that guarantees our streak. And I mean, when you're 100 streaking at 3-7, your average placement is already very, very good. And I think a lot of JD's games look like this. We get dropped a full IE, which is fantastic. Full IE plus either Protector's Vow or Crown Guard. Probably Vow because we already have a Crown Guard made, but we'll see. And then I'm not really sure what this rod's going to end up being. Perhaps, well, we don't need Morelos because we have Blistering Strike. So not sure what this is going to be. But I mean, yeah, those other two slams are really, really straightforward. So I like that. And yeah, I mean, we can just go 8 next round because we're that rich. And honestly, probably just a fast 9, but I'm curious to see what JD does to his board. But just look at how much work this board does. It's not even close, man. And it's not like the other board that we were fighting was weak at all. I mean, that was a Kai'Sa board. And speaking of Kai'Sa, we are holding onto this Sivir, which is something really, really important. Or maybe it's not important because we're going to sell it. Okay. Well, maybe he thinks that we're not actually going to play towards Kai'Sa, so it's so contested. Wow. Interesting. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess we'll see. We pick up Ink Shadow +1 here, which is really nice. Allows you to play for a 5, potentially 7 Ink Shadow game, which is just a very, very strong vertical now that they buffed all of the Ink Shadow items. So ideally, we'll get to play towards that. But yeah, it's interesting that he wanted to sell the Sivir there. I think it might have been that he saw so many Kai'Sa players here that he said, you know what, I'm going to go straight from Senna into level 9. I don't really need to take that intermediary step of looking for like a Kai'Sa 2, because it's going to be way too hard to find Kai'Sa 2 in this lobby. I'm just going to sit here on this board and look how strong it still is. We're still 100 streaking. These fights are not close by any means. And yeah, he's going to start building out his board saying, okay, how are we actually going to play around vertical Ink Shadow here? And yeah, eventually he is going to get Kai'Sa in, but I think his idea maybe is, I don't know, maybe that, I think his idea is that we don't need the Sivir because we're not going to play the 4 Trick Shadow version. We're going to play, did I say Trick Shadow? I just combined Trick Shot and Ink Shadow. We're not going to play the 4 Trick Shot version because a lot of people, I think, actually have come down on the 4 Trick Shot version. I think, you know, a few patches ago, a while ago, look at this damage, by the way. This is a Cho'Gath 3, and the one Senecast almost one-taps it, man. Like, ghostly damage amp is just not legal. But yeah, I think a lot of people prior to the patch really thought the best version of this board is 4 Bruiser, 4 Trick Shot, and then you add Udyr and you get Ink Shadow in, and you get Udyr in, and it's really, really cool. I think the innovation recently is this just true Trick Shot version where you play more around vertical Dragon Lords, because, you know, you can fit in like Lee Sin, and he's duelist with Volibear, which is like kind of cute. It's not amazing. Who really cares about duelist? But it's a synergy, and you can play around like Diana and stuff, and you can just play around the more sort of capped Dragon Lord units. And the big thing is that you get to duo carry both Kai'Sa and Xayah, and so you don't have to play these kind of like crummy units and like Bard and like, I mean, Sivir's a pretty good sort of like support unit, but still she's not amazing. But Bard and Teemo are really like the useless ones, the guys that don't do too much. This is a pretty close fight against a quite strong Fated board. I think we're finally going to lose our streak here, but it is okay. We are 55 gold here, level 8, and about 90 HP, so we can easily sack a few rounds, either 5-2 it or 5-5 it if we want to be really greedy with our econ. Imagine this is going to be a 5-2 just because of how rich we are, but we will see. But, I mean, this is what JD did in a lot of games. He either played this really, really strong win streak opener, or he played around like Fortune and used that to cap out. But he was playing at level 9 in most of his games. Now, not to say they didn't play anything else. I know, at least on ladder, I saw him play like a little bit of like Heavenly Yone stuff when he got dropped like a really insane spot for it. Like there are more than 2 comps to play for sure, or really like 1 comp but 2 ways to get there. But I think this is a really, really good way to dominate the competition, especially when this is, like I said, a 400 person open bracket tourney. So these last few lobbies, like this is a lobby with a lot of strong people in it, but especially in the earlier days when JD was playing against like less strong competition, I think this is a really, really good way to play the game where you're just playing for win streak, playing for strongest board. It makes it really, really easy to play the game when you're just always playing for strongest, because you can usually use your edge in skill to win streak and, you know, get to a spot where you just get to play for level 9 like this, and you're hard chilling. We're fighting a Janna 3, Zyra 3 board. I feel like I've seen more of this recently. Pretty interesting, because I was a hater on this Janna reroll comp for a long time. Maybe this board will turn me into a lover. I don't think so, because I'm pretty sure Zyra 3 kind of sucks, but we'll see. But yeah, this is level 9 with 50 gold to roll. Picks up a Xayah, picks up an Udyr already. Going to continue to roll down there. Picks up another Udyr. We're not playing for the Irelia here because we have the Ink Shadow +1, so we really want to get that 6 Ink Shadow in here. And who's the Ink Shadow emblem going to go on, I guess, is the million-dollar question. Just randomly Ornn here. I think that's fine. Yeah, the big thing is, like, do you want to put Ink Shadow emblem on Xayah or something? It's like 15% damage increase and 15% tankiness increase, but I think, like, that's not really worth a whole item most of the time. So, yeah, I mean, this is basically the board that we're going to pivot into. We're just going to play around these really strong units. What else do we have in our board that we could potentially cut? I mean, theoretically, as far as like non-Ink Shadow units go, we have the Illaoi and the Ornn in here. Illaoi is just Ghostly Warden here, but I mean, she's a solid frontline. I think that could probably come out later for some kind of Dragon Lord, like the Lee Sin, like I was talking about. The Ornn is pretty nice to just opt to give us some extra frontline, to give us Behemoth for the Udyr, which is really nice for his ability to just bonk everybody with this, the tattoo of healing, the tattoo of it's a little heart, and it kind of sucks. I don't know. I still have to, like, usually, like, Fury and Bombardment, like, the ones that, like, have, like, mean names, and then it's, like, Protect, that one's Vitality, and then Protection is the one that's good. Because Vitality kind of sucks, and Protection is actually really good, but they, like, I don't know, things like that have, like, basically the same name, like, they both mean, like, heal yourself. They both mean, like, be happy. It you know, messes me up sometimes. But yeah, we pick up this Udyr 2 here with an Adaptive Helm, with a Randuin's here, which is, I mean, absolutely fantastic. Big thing is we do still want to keep this Udyr next to Ornn if possible. We want Ornn to farm an item for Udyr. This is a little scary, but I think the units are going to walk around in such a way that, yeah, we're always farming an Udyr item, which is really, really nice. Yeah, we always want to be farming an Udyr item here because he's a 2-star Udyr. You got to be careful with your Ornn positioning in fights like this, because the difference between farming an Udyr item and farming a Jax item is insanely big. So be careful when you're positioning with comps like this. The nice thing is we have this Illaoi next to the Ornn, so the Illaoi is, you know, never going to steal the Ornn item because she's 3 items. So you can use 3 item carries. You can even use stuff like Thief's Gloves to make it so the item goes where you want it to, essentially. But yeah, I mean, this is nice because the units are always going to wrap around, and also with this Redemption plus Vow, this Ornn is always going to be farming item for Udyr. I think, honestly, it makes a lot of sense that we prioritize these, like, AP type items, like the Crown Guard, the Vow, so much, the ones that provide mana, because they're fantastic on Udyr, and they're fantastic on stuff like Illaoi, like Shen. So this comp just, it has such a really, really, like, such an easy curve, right? It's like you play items on Senna. Items on Senna generally are good on Kai'Sa, except for something like Guinsoo, which is not amazing. But the Guinsoo can even go on Xayah, like we have here, which I still doubt is amazing, but it's probably not terrible. And then, you know, you put your items on Illaoi, you put your items on Shen. Those items all carry really easily onto stuff like the Ornn. Udyr items also are, you know, like, we could have this Crown Guard on Udyr. We'd be perfectly happy with that. So, I mean, yeah, it all kind of works out. This is actually a pretty smart call out as well. Tattoo of Vitality, just not a good enough item, so we're just going to move that off of Udyr, and we're going to take the Ornn item instead of the Tattoo of Vitality. I love this here, because, yeah, like I was talking about, Tattoo of Vitality, just not that strong. We would much prefer something like a BT on this Udyr. Look at the work that this guy is putting in, and it looks like potentially we're going level 10 here in this spot, 62 HP. I mean, you can see why this guy's performance is so good, because does this game look close at all? Does at any point in this game it look like, oh man, he really high rolled this one thing? Like, it almost looks like an inevitability. If we hadn't hit Udyr 2 there, say, oh, he got Udyr 2 off Carousel. If we hadn't gotten Udyr 2 off Carousel, we would have just rolled because we have 65 gold on level 9 and we're just going level 10. I don't know if we even need to go level 10 to win this lobby. I mean, this guy looks kind of strong, so I think, you know, it's always good to push levels when you can. But yeah, looks like we might need 10 to beat this guy later. And I don't know, I mean, their board looks really, really scary. But look, I mean, it's a guaranteed worst placement this game could ever be as a top 2. And it never looked close to being, like, it never looked like GD was worried this game at all, which is usually a very, very good sign for a TFT player. Swapping around here to spread the board out a bit so that we don't get Morgana and Kayn and stuff. The only thing that I don't like about this is that means Ornn is farming for the Volibear instead of the Udyr, so we're stuck on 2-item Udyr for this entire fight, which I don't love. We are going to lose this fight as well, but like I was talking about, the HP lead, look at that, 27 HP. Even if our board is the worst board in the world, surely one of these two people is going to die in the next couple of rounds. And we're still sitting here with like 80 gold? We're going to go 10 here, and hopefully that's enough to cap our board to win the game. He's actually going to roll on 9 here. Oh, that's interesting. He just wants to find upgrades for his board, and looks like he's going to keep the Alawi on the board. I wonder what this is for, actually, because yeah, he's not interested in the going 10. He's just going to keep this board in right now. The person he's fighting here is holding a few Kaisas, so there's no way we're hitting Kaisa 3. They're not holding a lot of Syndras. I wonder why we decided to roll on 9 here instead of going 10. I mean, maybe his idea is that Alawi 3 is a bigger spike than anything that we can put in on 10. I could see it, and wow, this fight looked bad last time, but I think once we actually spread out here, that gave us enough advantage that this was a huge stomp. So we got one more fight here versus Pakigam, of course, you know, acclaimed, very strong player. We're gonna hit the Alawi 3, which is what we were going for rolling on 8 or 9. And we're gonna reclump here because I assume we don't have to worry too much about AoE versus this board. I mean, it's the Morgana, it's the King, but he really wants to get this Randuin's value and make sure, once again, farming that item for Udyr is huge here. Look at Udyr on the back line here with the death cap. Is it going to be enough to carry the fight? It's not. We're going to take one more loss here. So there's going to be one final fight here. It's guaranteed top 2 for JD, which, I mean, honestly, let me disappear my camera here. The game started at this, so his scores right now are 1-1-1-2 here. So I think, you know, JD is probably happy with the second, but you know, you don't get to be this good without being happy for a second. Oh, right! I know what he's rolling for here, actually. He's rolling for Xayah 2 and Kaisa 2. I forgot. Oh my god. His board was so strong that I didn't even realize that we were sitting on Kaisa 1 this entire game. We were Kaisa 1 on... His board is too strong. Like, can you blame me for not realizing? Like, I was getting so caught up in looking at, like, the Udyr and the Ord and stuff that I forgot that we were only Kaisa 1 because we were just stomping the lobby. This Kaisa unit is not normal. But we roll down here, pick up the Kaisa 2, pick up the Xayah, and it's the easiest first to our life. Okay, apologize for not seeing the Kaisa 2. But I mean, can you really blame me? It looked like it was a Kaisa 2 with how well it was doing. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe. Once again, check out the link in the description down below to Call of Dragons and... screenshot your achievements to get free coaching. It'll be really cool. Yeah, okay. See you guys in the next video. Bye.